The ultimate target for open-ended AI is recursive self-improvement. The theory is that if an AI can write code, it can continuously rewrite its own architecture, creating a compounding loop of intelligence. To understand the limits of this theory, we have to look at the current baseline, the Darwin-Gödel machine, or DGM. This system maintains an archive of AI agents, running them through a strict cycle of self-modification and evaluation to slowly build better versions of itself. The DGM operates on a rigid two-part architecture. First, there is a task agent, which executes the actual target problem. Second, there is a meta agent, which sits above the task agent and rewrites its code based on performance. But there is a bottleneck in this design. The meta agent relies on a handcrafted, fixed mechanism to generate instructions. The human programmers explicitly hard-coded the rules for how the system should analyze failures and propose improvements. Because the improvement mechanism is locked in place by human engineering, the system's capacity to evolve has a strict ceiling. The AI is trapped in a permanent bottleneck, limited entirely by the foresight of its original designers. Being highly skilled at writing code does not guarantee competence in other domains. The logic required to optimize a Python script is entirely separate from the reasoning required to review an academic paper, or the spatial awareness needed to design physics rules for a robot. If a fixed meta agent is optimized strictly for software engineering, it will fail to generate improvements for a task agent in unrelated domains. The instruction generation rules simply do not map over. To break this limitation, researchers developed the hyperagent architecture. Instead of separating the task agent and the meta agent, a hyperagent collapses both functions into a single, fully editable Turing-complete program. A Turing-complete program is a system capable of simulating any computational logic or algorithm, given enough time and memory. This unified structure enables true metacognitive self-modification. This means the agent has the autonomy to rewrite the actual logic it uses to evaluate and improve itself. By making the improvement mechanism itself editable, the AI shifts its operation. It stops merely searching for a better solution to a task and begins autonomously optimizing the search algorithm itself. The original DGM flow illustrates exactly why that hard-coded limit exists. The system analyzes past evaluations to generate an instruction for self-improvement, but that handcrafted instruction mechanism is locked. The padlock ensures the system acts as a one-way street. The meta agent pushes updates down to the task agent's code, but the logic governing how those instructions are generated can never be touched. The DGM-H, or hyperagent architecture, combines them. The boundary between the agent doing the work and the agent managing the evolution is erased. With the padlock gone, the hyperagent gains complete autonomy. When it evaluates its past performance, it must actively decide whether to edit the task solver or rewrite the rules of its own evaluation logic. Because the agent is entirely Python, it has the theoretical capacity to build any computable machine within its own loop. This structural collapse removes the human designer from the evolutionary cycle entirely, laying the theoretical groundwork for unbounded, continuous progress across any domain. To test this empirically, researchers placed both the standard DGM and the hyperagent into a physics simulation, tasking them with designing a reward function that would teach a quadruped robot how to walk. This bar graph shows the performance of various agents on that robotics task. The red DGM bar flatlines near zero. The fixed meta agent completely failed, getting trapped in a local optimum where it rewarded the robot for simply standing tall rather than taking a step. In contrast, the blue DGM-H bar on the far right demonstrates massive outperformance. The hyperagent successfully designed a functional reward policy that easily cleared the default baseline. We see the exact same separation in an academic paper review task. This line graph tracks evaluation scores across 100 iterations. The dark blue DGM-H line climbs continuously across the iterations, completely detaching from the baseline models flatlined at the bottom. The hyperagent solved the robotics task by incrementally building an internal knowledge base. It mapped out environment constraints and valid state variables, rewriting its understanding of the physics engine to avoid compilation errors. Without metacognitive self-modification, coding AIs collapse when domains shift. Relying on a coding-specific meta-agent for non-coding problems prevents generalized improvement. This raises a question. What specific changes did the hyperagent make to its own metacode to drive these massive gains? Without human prompting, the DGMH authored a brand new Python class for itself, which it named Performance Tracker. If a hyperagent is truly learning how to learn, rather than just memorizing domain specifics, those new meta skills should seamlessly transfer to a completely alien environment. Researchers ran a transfer experiment to test exactly that. They took a hyperagent that had evolved strictly on paper reviews and robotics and deployed it to grade complex Olympiad-level mathematics. They measured this using a strict complexity metric called IMP at 50, or improvement at 50 iterations. This metric isolates the meta-agent's ability to produce better task variance within a hard 50-iteration limit. Transferring a standard fixed meta-agent into the math domain, it starts at 0 and achieves an IMP at 50 of exactly 0. A standard AI cannot adapt its fixed learning algorithm to a zero-shot domain. Its prior improvements were merely overfit domain customizations, not actual cognitive growth. This chart plots the performance trajectory in the Olympiad math domain. Notice the sharp upward break of the dark green line. This represents the DGMH agent, transferred in with its autonomously evolved memory and tracking loops intact. This bar chart displays the final IMPAD at 50 scores. The massive dark green bar on the right confirms the exact performance gains. The hyperagent achieved significant test accuracy strictly because of the meta skills it brought over from the previous domains. Self-improvement strategies learned in robotics and paper review accelerated its learning in a totally unseen environment, bypassing the initial curve. These meta-level improvements are completely domain-agnostic. This proves self-improvement can compound across multiple runs and entirely different scientific fields. Human-engineered outer loops strictly bound an AI system to the limitations of the original programmer. The algorithm can only improve as much as the hard-coded instructions allow. Combining task execution and self-modification into a single editable space lets the system escape the meta bottleneck. We have moved past AI systems that merely search for better solutions. Instead, we are now looking at open-ended systems that continuously optimize the very nature of how they search.